Hey, what's going on? Do you have difficulty approaching people? Do you sometimes think, he or she look interesting, but you don't go up to them and talk to them? Well, this video is for you, my friend. Hey, what's going on? I'm Marty from 30 Day Challenges, the channel aimed at helping you become the person you want to be. This month's challenge is all about just going up to strangers and getting to know them. I think it's a great challenge to do because it helps you understand other people and in turn helps you understand yourself. But really the reason I did it is because I'm kind of shy and I have difficulty approaching people and breaking the ice. So by forcing yourself to do something for 30 days, you're gonna get there. But anyway, the way this video is gonna be structured is I've got firstly, I'll tell you why it's so good, which is obvious. Second thing I'm gonna talk about is my direct experience, kind of give you a bit more details, and lastly is how to make the most out of it and to do it the best so you'll do even better than I did. So why would you want to do this challenge? Well, I believe that, you know, deep down we're all the same and we all have all the same kind of goals, and too often we are led to believe that we are different and that we are the foreign or the unknown is bad or dangerous. And you know, a challenge like this just helps you kind of get the terms that everyone's just like you, man. And you know, and I guess the second part will be that if you're shy and you want to kind of work on that and be more social and get better at making friends, this video is great. You know, this is what this is for. So my experience. Also, I guess I should mention that I got the idea from High Existence and for a challenge poster. Okay, so my experience. It was very hard for me. Actually, I started this challenge, and then 2 weeks down the line, I still hadn't talked to anyone. I was just really shy. And in a way, I think I made myself, I was too hard on myself, so it would be harder to start, but I'm going to talk about that later. Eventually, I started speaking to people, and everyone, literally everyone, was super cool and welcoming and kind of kind and interested and, you know, wanted to share. Not even one person was rude. I think only twice people told me that they were busy and that they were going somewhere and they couldn't talk, which is, you know, fine, that's okay. And by that time you've kind of already picked up momentum, and because starting is the hardest part, and once you start and get going, then you're rolling. As a side effect, I think it feels like I'm more approachable because, like, in the days and the weeks after the challenge, I feel that there's more people coming up to me and talking to me, whether it's for directions or information or something. It just happens, and that's funny because it works in both ways. Other things I've gained is that I'm just naturally more social. Where before I'd kind of walk past someone and wouldn't say anything, now it's very much me to just say something, whether it's, you know, comment on the weather or whatever. I just talk to people now, and it's great, and it's kind of, I feel like this is who I really am deep down, and this challenge kind of helped me get closer to that. Like, my dad also noticed, we were shopping once, and I just asked the cashier how's her day, and he told me that her face lit up, you know, from someone going up to her and just showing that they care about someone else. And to me, that's the best challenge, is that the best thing from doing this challenge, that you make other people feel that they're part of the whole and they're not isolated, and in turn that makes you feel that you're part of the whole, part of humanity, and that, you know, we're all together and we can all talk to each other, and one love, one life, and all that. The second best thing, or, you know, equally as good, is that sometimes you meet someone and it's like their acquaintance was directly, it was like destiny or fate or something. Like, you had to meet him today because you had this kind of like thought on your mind, and now you met him, and it's just like, oh, I needed to speak to you about this thing exactly, you know, and I just randomly talked to you and you happen to be that person. For example, I was filming a short drama and I was looking for actors, and I bumped into people and, oh, you're an actor? No way, I literally need an actor for this thing. And none of them ended up doing my drama in the end, but that's okay, because, you know, I still just, for example, this one guy, he was telling me how he people watches to improve his acting, and that was really interesting. And other people, you know, shared valuable life outlooks with me. For example, I was kind of struggling, you know, with like revision and stuff, and there was this guy who told me, you know, to really know something, you must understand the fundamental of it. And that really kind of resided with me, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I guess I'll talk about a little anecdote now that I experienced. After the challenge was finished, a few weeks after, I walked past this guy and he looked really cool. He had like this goatee and he had his vape pen and he just looked really cool. And I wanted to talk to him, but I didn't. And I went to the cafeteria, and luckily after the cashier there's like forks and stuff where you can pick up your forks, and he was next to me. So I was like, hey man, you looking for company while we eat? And he's like, oh sorry man, I'm a comedian and I've got very little time and I have to kind of write my jokes right now. And I insisted basically, and he was like, you know, okay. And we had like the most amazing chat, and I was in a stage of my life where I'm kind of balancing all these like things I'm doing, and I've got like the main thing which I'm doing, which is my degree, but then I've got all these side interests like salsa and bouldering and all these other things, and I'm just like, how do I do all of it? Because I feel like my main thing is losing because of all these other side things. And he was like, pick on like the one thing that you want to be a master at, and then all the other things, think about, is it really important that you become a master at them, or are you just kind of doing them for fun? And for me, that was very, like, that made sense. There was this other girl that I met, and we just talked for 20 minutes for absolutely nothing. Just whereas with Jay, the comedian, we had loads of like stuff in common. With the girl, we didn't really. We were just talking about nothing, and it was fun and it was great. You know, that you could just meet a stranger and all of a sudden you're just kind of joking around and stuff. So that was nice. Alrighty, so I'm gonna talk about my pro tips for yous, so you can do this really easy, quick, fun, yada yada yada. Tip number one is, if you're gonna make this into a challenge, make it your priority. So really, like, the best time to do it, trust me, is the first thing. It's worked best for me when I see someone I want to talk to and I just talk to them straight away. I'm gonna talk a little bit about second guessing later on, and that's bad. Okay, you want to kind of get into the flow where you do things straight away, and if you're not there yet, that's fine. You're gonna develop that in time. But there were times when I would resist doing it, and then the whole day I'd have this boulder over my head where I'm like, I have to do this thing that I'm really scared of doing, and I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. So I was really like not focused and not present for the rest of the day because of that. So tip number one is do it as soon as possible. Tip number two is don't sweat it. Okay, as a flip side to number one, it's not the most important thing in your life. So, you know, if you're having trouble and if you're taking 2 weeks to start, that's okay. You know, you have to start from somewhere, and if it takes you a bit longer, that's all right. And now, these tips kind of refer to how to do the actual meeting someone. I think the most important thing is to maintain eye contact. I have noticed that when I have to think of things to say, I like look up or look away, and you know, my brain's like making conversation. But when that's happening, I feel that their interest is dropping. So if you're one of those people like me, try and do that while looking at them. And I'll talk a little bit more about conversation in a minute, but First, I'm gonna tell you that if you freeze, don't worry about it. Just extend your hand, say, "Hi, my name is," and the social context is that they will also extend their hand, shake it, and introduce their name, and boom, you've done it. That's literally the easiest way to meet someone. It's social. It's part of the social dynamic, you know. This is how you meet someone. Like in other countries, especially like Bulgaria, that is it. Like that's how you meet people. Handshake, my name, boom. Then you start. You know, if you want to know about this or that, what do you do? Or, and there's a flip side. Oh no, even more about that I've noticed that when I'm kind of nervous, I talk a lot, and if I'm talking a lot over them and I don't give them space to kind of answer my questions, then that's not really a conversation, is it? It's more of a monologue. And you know, the whole idea of this challenge is to understand other people. So give them, tip number whatever is, give them time to answer your questions, and when they've stopped answering, just give them that extra second or whatever, because if they're also nervous, they'll also have things to say, and you know, it's a back and forth. It's a relationship that you're creating with someone. Actually, funny, like I just remembered that Hader, this guy that gave me one of the insightful tips, I met him the other day, yesterday, and it was like, hey, I've got a friend now, you know. Tip number 5, I should really be writing these down, is don't tell them about the challenge, because I would sometimes tell people about the challenge. I think I've done it a few times because, you know, I got nervous and I ran out of things to say, and when I did, it felt like they realized that I wasn't genuinely interested in them, which I was, but it kind of seemed that I was doing it for myself, which I am. Lastly, there are going to be times when you're not going to feel very social. I had loads of coursework on while I was doing it, and I spent like the whole day studying or in front of a computer, and I was kind of a little like IT zombie, and you don't want to talk to people when you're like that, but you have to because you're now on this challenge, so that's okay. You know, whatever kind of challenge you're doing, there are going to be times when either sit-ups or eating healthy, there are going to be times when you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. And that's okay, because as long as you do it, when you don't feel like you're going to do it, then you're helping the challenge become a part of you, and not just something that you do when you're feeling at your best. Because we all know we're not always feeling at our best, and so just do it anyway, even if you don't feel like doing it. If I could do it during all my exams and coursework, then you could do it anytime. I don't care if you're on a night shift. And really lastly now, for the realsies, something I noticed, grab your attention and give you some insight on this. There was this day when I was going to go meet some friends in London, and I walked past Uni Hall and they were filming like this gig thing there, and I was like, I'm friends with the people doing it, let's go see them. And then like I had the voice in my head, or a part of me was like, oh, you don't want to go, you don't want to talk to people, you're a bit shy kind of thing. And I was like, okay, and I took 3 steps and I was like, hold on, no, I'm gonna do that because I want to do it. And I did it, and it sounds very petty, but I did it, and you know, I had a great time. I just really saying hi to a few people, but it was interesting. And after that, I felt like I had momentum to do whatever I wanted. I think that second guessing yourself and doubting yourself is this way, and not questioning yourself and being spontaneous and just doing what you want is this way. It doesn't really matter, but they're opposite ways, and the more you do one, the further you are from the other. So once you've kind of picked up momentum of doing what you want and not second guessing yourself and just, you know, being spontaneous, then it's easier for you to do these things. I went out to the Leaving Drinks, and there was loads of people I don't know, and I had no problem approaching anyone, especially girls, which I usually have a harder time kind of approaching. And there was even like a situation where I would have never kind of spoken to someone, and Like it was this girl, and there was like this kind of, you could sense it, you know, you have intuition that she looks interesting, I want to talk to her kind of thing. But she was with a group of people, and for me to have, like, if I didn't have that momentum, I would have never kind of like just gone up to her and kind of interrupted her or whatever. But I did, and she was super cool, and she like totally kind of ditched her friends and just came and spoke to me, and she was like a proper like my kind of person, and we just had loads to talk about, and it was great. And it's all because I took the initiative, I took the first step, I made myself vulnerable and just kind of asked someone like, hey, how are you? And you know, and you get stronger for it. You kind of build up resistance over it, you know, being rejected or whatever. For example, I was kind of promoting my society yesterday, and if you've ever been a promoter for something or seen a promoter, you can imagine like going up to people all the time. Quite a lot are gonna be like, no, I'm busy, or just not even talk to you back, kind of ignore you. And that's okay, you know, because you've got something to do, I've got something to do. But I was doing it with ease, and you know, my friends later told me that I was very good at it. So yeah, I hope I've sold you two into this challenge. So I was meant to have another video for you guys. The new challenge that I was doing after I finished that one, because that was in December, was about lucid dreaming. However, I haven't really had the results that I wanted to have. So instead of just making a video about how not to do it, I guess, or like my experience, I've kind of decided to put more time and effort into that, and to have something more valuable for you guys to see, for me to share with y'all. But before that, I'm gonna complete a 30-day challenge yoga with Adrian, because she had a new one, and I've got the last day tomorrow. So I'll be doing a video on that, and that's it, you know. Let me know if you have any questions. I don't mind, like, you know, supporting you throughout your challenge. So write it down in the comments, and if you have any kind of challenges that you want to see what, you know, the results will be of that, but you don't have maybe time to do it yourself, then let me know, you know, in the comments, and we'll do this. And alright, thanks for watching, bye bye.